Stop smiling. Am I suggesting we don't tell them to work hard? Absolutely not. But as we tell them to work hard, we must remember the same devil who misled us when we were growing up is still alive. To empathize means to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. Even morally, some of our families are studying today because we empathize with others. When you empathize with others, what happens is this: you communicate a message that you expect the same empathy when your hour comes. No, you're not understanding this. Let me make it clear. Let me make it clear. Look at me. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If you ever notice a funny text in his phone, before you reply, take time. You might need grace tomorrow. To empathize is to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. It could have been a malicious person who sent a text. Is that possible? Don't jump at conclusions. Yes, your employee perhaps got late delivering the tender. It was 10 o'clock and it is 10:05. You are certain you're going to win this tender. But let me suggest to you, still you need to empathize with them, even as you communicate. Don't start questioning their head. Hugejiambia uchukue boda boda, lazima uchukue taxi. Ufikiriangi. Or maybe they delivered the tender in time, but they forgot to insert the bidboard. Let me suggest to you today, no amount of shouting will put the bidboard in your tender document. You'd rather live to fight another day. You give a mechanic a car, he returned it far worse, with more trouble, more problems than the first time you gave him. Believe me, he's more frustrated than you are. He may have wanted to prove by his mechanical prowess. Empathize with others. Number 8, look for the good in other people. I decided to throw in this point because chances are some in our midst are gifted fault finders, as though there's a reward for it. We have a unique gift and eye for looking for everything wrong. At the end of this meeting, we're going to complain the colors of the curtain was not very conducive. The lights were too strong. It was a theater style. We didn't even have tables to light on. Our laps were getting tired. And the speaker did not have a nice pulpit. He was loitering up and about. The people who are gifted fault finders. You know, I teach management in the university, and I begin my classes by telling students what I'm just about to tell you. You develop people in the same manner in which you mine gold. When you're mining gold, you remove tons and tons and tons of dirt. But you don't go in the quarry looking for the dirt. You go in there looking for the gold. You don't develop people by looking for the dirt in them. You develop people by looking for the gold in them. Is this practical to us? Let me try. Suppose you have this child who has deteriorated in academics. They have dropped, say, from a B plane to a C+. I suggest to any parent hearing my voice, before you comment on the drop in the mean grade, look closely at the result slip or the report card. Chances are they improved in one subject. Let's call it tonight Kiswahili. From a C+ to a B+. Start in there. Start with the good. Don't start with the fault. When you start with the fault, it has resentments. They block to the conversation. But suppose they never improved in any subject. That's an extremely rare case, but a possibility. But your daughter is doing very well in extracurricular activities. Sounds progress to national level, or music, or drama, or chess, or badminton, or swimming, whatever it is. Start right there. How come in drama you're going all the way to national level? Why? Because success principles are fundamentally the same. It is positive mental work attitude. It is hard work. It's teamwork. It is working with others. It's persistence. It is staying in the course. Then pause. Listen to their response. Worst case scenario. Suppose you have this girl not doing well in academics at all, nor in extracurricular activities, but your daughter is a beauty queen. Then you have a case for the jury. You have somewhere to start. Some careers just require beautiful girls who never confuse chat for shirt. And they have the job. There is something good in every person. There is some gold in every relationship. Look for the good, not the fault. Are you with me? Number 9. Learn to respond, not to react. One beautiful morning, January 2008, my wife and I were driving to work when I got some interesting guys behind us. 3 guys were in a pickup, very upset with my speed of overtaking. So when they were overtaking us, they didn't like the fact that I was overtaking not so much in a hurry. So as they overtook us, they did me something like this. Do you think they were blessing my life? Do you think they were blessing my day? I didn't answer them. And Marcy asked me, how come you didn't respond? I said, look, I have no clue whether they are running away from a crime scene. I have no clue whether they are high on substance abuse. I have no clue whether they are rushing a child beaten by a cobra to hospital. By answering back, I allow them to build a ceiling that is too low for me to reach. By answering them back, I allow them to throw trash into my life. By answering them back, I allow them to dictate my attitude for the day. By answering back, I allow them to dictate my energy levels to a very new low. And can I tell you something? They were not telling me. They were telling the driver of the car I was in. I'm the one who was driving. But they were telling the driver, they could have told anyone else. It is the car that was disturbing them. As a matter of fact, they have no clue that I even exist. Why should I even get mad? You see, that year, I'll give you interesting stories about that year. April that year, I had the privilege of speaking to principals from Kiambu County in Nakuru. It was a big meeting, there were many of them. When I was driving back to Nairobi, a woman called me. She identified herself as Mrs. Simiyu. There is no way on earth I would have recognized them. She said, I'm the principal of Gathega High School, and we are coming from a series of strikes. And please, would you come as soon as possible? And I obliged. In those days, there were heavy coffee bushes between International School of Kenya and her school. And there's a matatu that blocked me along the way. I was getting nervous. I was starting my speech 8 o'clock in the morning, and the first topic was time management. But by God's grace, the matatu driver who was speaking and dropping passengers at pleasure decided to park on the side, and I was able to overtake him. Then I came back to the matatu driver. Before I spoke to him, he interjected, Mzee, sina shida. I didn't know Mzee until that day. Then I asked him, all right, sir, where is Gathega High School? Then he pointed somewhere 500 meters away. It was hidden by some tall trees. You can imagine my shock when I landed at school to realize that 4 teachers were in that matatu, including the principal. Had I called the principal names, and then I start my speech that morning, learn to respond, be controlled, don't react. Now in September that year, I had the rare privilege of speaking to senior management Ketepa. And I give the story I've just given you. The then CEO, the immediate former CEO, Tim Chega, stood up and said, Kenyanjui, just before you continue, I want to interrupt your speech and give my own experience. One morning I was driving to my office, industrial area. On this particular morning, there was another motorist who wrapped me up along the Haile Selassie Uhuru Highway roundabout. There was no good fellowship between us. I have no clue what I did to him, but there was no good fellowship. And as he sped off, he did something to me with his middle finger. I leave it to your creative imagination. My career does not allow me to illustrate. The guy was in a hurry. Why? He was headed for interview. Where? Ketepa. He reached and realized the chairman of the panel looks familiar. He asked him, sir, you look familiar. And the guy said, yes, very much so. As the roundabout this morning describes our familiarity. And the poor fellow knew the interview is over. You see, the man who was then hired, Christopher Kibet, who is such a close friend of mine, told me when they were being shortlisted for that high job as HR director, the guy who reacted was literally way above the other 2 guys who were shortlisted. He lost his job because he reacted. Learn to respond, not to react. When we launched this club, we were 35 people. And God is gracious, they have all stood with me, they are here in our midst. And when we arrange these seats today, we arrange 200 seats and we have to get some more. We have not gone to the TV. What has brought you here? There's a word spoken. So when I mess him, I've not messed him. I've messed a whole chain. Are you with me? Yes. I've messed a whole chain. And this is our 7th month. If I persuaded her that we are doing something right here, and she brings 3 people, then before June, we are more than 1,000 people here. So you don't just lose that customer. One is too much to lose. What is response? What is react? React is negative, response is positive. Classic example. You go to a doctor and the doctor says, medicine is reacting on you, we're going to change the prescription because react is negative. If, however, the doctor says your body is responding to the treatment, you relax. Why? Response is positive. You see, if you have been following me on social media, perhaps in the year 2014, you may have come across an article I posted that was a bit controversial. Money doesn't change people. And I'm a firm believer money doesn't change people. And perhaps you have heard it said, huyu jamaa alipata pesa, aliringa, alibadilika. He got money and he changed. The truth is he wasn't changed by money. Being materialistic has nothing to do with how much you have. There are people who don't have money and they're materialistic. Maybe there's somebody in our midst who went up country to put up a pit latrine or a fence or a cow shed for his father. And the father refuses to listen to you and tells you, hey, Nyamaza, let's listen to him. Let's listen to this guy. He could even be your younger brother. But this is the guy with the money. He's the guy with the bucks. We're going to listen to him. We don't need to listen to you. Even though that old man doesn't have money, he is materialistic. So money does not change people. Money reveals people. You must be wondering, why did Kenyanjui throw in money stories here? I wanted to use this as an analogy to say circumstances don't define you. They reveal you. The Lord forbid, if somebody hits your car at the end of this meeting and then you shout at the top of your voice, oh, shit! You didn't say that because another car hit you. You say that because a lot of shit dwells inside of you. The other car revealed the shit. Circumstances don't define you. They just reveal you. So at the end of this meeting, the Lord forbid, if another motorist hits your car, I want you to look at that guy and shout at the top of your voice, oh, sugar! Because I'm trying to store some sugar inside of you. Learn to respond, not to react. What's this? I'm writing an email to a subordinate in the office. In anger, I'm very upset. He couldn't complete the reporting time. I'm annoyed. To respond means just before I click the hit button, I take a walk. I come back. I reread that email. Chances are I'm not going to send it in its original format. That's the difference between responding and reacting. If I find a text in your boyfriend's phone, in your husband's phone, and I suggest to you right now, before you answer back, take a walk, breathe some fresh air. Chances are very high you will speak to him differently. Believe me, friends, a lot of relationships are lost simply because we reacted to situations. If only we learned how to control our tempers, if only we learned how to respond under difficult, strenuous moments, we will salvage lots of relationships. Learn to respond, not to react. Number 10 and the last one. Believe in others. I do not believe there is anything that epitomizes your faith in others than the words you use on a day-to-day basis. Let me even say this. If you have missed everything I have spoken tonight, this alone is worth your time, energy, and effort. If you have ever heard me at any given moment, you perhaps can tell I'm extremely passionate and personal on this theme of the words we use on a day-to-day basis. Words are the power to make and the power to destroy. Words are the power to bless and the power to curse. Born blind, deaf and dumb, when she finally learned how to speak, Helen Keller eloquently said it this way: Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will break my heart. And I believe there's a lot of validity to that observation. Names are never neutral. My mom had a brother by name Moreu. Moreu in my mother tongue literally means mlevi, the drunkard. And true to his name, this guy drank changa every day and supplemented by planting bangi around his compound. When he finally kicked the bucket, none of us thought it wise to do a postmortem to investigate into the causes of his death. His name sealed his fate. Our friend by name Grace, she's an expert of fresh produce. She tells me of her brother by name Kavoa, pronounced in her Kaba accent. Kavoa, translated to mean Kanaya Chapwa, the one who's always beaten. And true to his name, somebody either at home or at school found a reason to beat this boy. Until at 18, he literally ran away from home to sell clothes in Gikoba. Names. Nyakimincha is a school in Nyamira County. Nyakimincha is a Guzi name for the tail, and the school has never disappointed. Last year, there's a school neighboring Nyakimincha by name Nyakoiba. Nyakoiba is a Kisii name for the thief. Last year's results, KCSE, all of them were cancelled because of cheating in examinations. Between Kakamega and Bugoma, we have a school by name Ebuchinga. In some Luya dialects, Ebuchinga translated to mean the place of fools. And the rest is absolutely history. So bad is the history that actually 2 years ago, they had to rename the school. In Nyeri County, a place known as Mukurweini, we have a school by name Kiagoma. Kiagoma in Kikuyu means the devils. And you only need to know how the strikes in that school were depicting diabolical characteristics. By the way, again, 3 years ago, they had to rename that school. Names are never innocent. His very name, Jesus Christ, sealed his other mission, the anointed Savior. I'm going to give you local examples. I know it's always sensitive to give local stories, but I choose to do this for you to relate with this. But for the sake of your peace, I have the absolute permission of the 4 people I'm going to discuss, and I've recorded those stories in this little book. In the year 2008, I was a lead trainer in UKCC. And during one of the trainings, the then MD, Francis Mainge Mwangi, asked me to go and do some work for him in Kiagodo High School, where he was the chair of the board. Over the weekend, I was spending with him, and I had asked him a question. He had gotten that job when he was 36 years old. He had only worked in one place, East Africa Breweries. In those days, to earn 850,000 per month is quite a story. Still is today. For some of us, perhaps that's a bank loan. Fact or fiction? Fact. It's still money to date. This man had one college degree, education from KU. Unlike many of you listening to me here, he hadn't gone back for his postgraduate studies. His elder brother then was the National Director of Procurement, Ken Njoroge Mwangi. He's now in education. The other brother, Lamek, was doing apartment after another one. Another brother was doing a chain of businesses in the United States. And when Mwangi left KCC, he went to Aga Khan Group as the general manager. And when he tried his hand in politics, he became the first governor of Murang'a. Most of you today recognize him as Mwangi Weria. But then I asked him, how come you have all been doing so well as a family? And he asked me to ask his father that question. And he attentively listened to the conversation. It was about 9 p.m. when the father told me, you know what? I spoke a brilliant future into their lives. And the end result, all those children succeeded. Many of you here recognize the name of Lola as the lady who was leading a 76 billion Old Mutual investment in Kenya. What you might not know are the foreign details. As I speak to you tonight, Laura is 38. Her youngest sister is 29. She's working in the Emirates. Lola says, as we grew up, our father said, one of these days you're going to be important people in this country and beyond. It was induced in our minds early on, she continues, that we'll be important people in this nation and beyond. The end result, all those 4 girls are exceptionally successful. The name Awori rings a bell.